Hey guys, thanks for coming. Let me first give a brief statement about this past week game, and then we're ready to put this one behind us as a staff and as a team we already have. You know, the things I mentioned at the press conference post game pretty much stand to form. When you don't follow our plan to win, typically you don't win. And we didn't follow that from the get-go, starting with losing the turnover battle. Didn't play great defense. Didn't play great special teams. You know, goes right down the line. But you know what? The thing that, to me, when you go back and look at the game, that sort of broke the game broke the game open. It was a 0-0 game midway through the second quarter. We do a great job of downing the ball at the 1 yard line with an opportunity to get the ball back, maybe around midfield or even the +40. We played good defense. They popped a big run. But even after that, we came right back, stormed back, answered with about 11-play drive that goes 7-7. And then from that point on, could not get anything going offensively. Gave up some more points before half to make it 17-7. At that point, felt like we could still come back, obviously, and make some adjustments at halftime. We're not able to do that in the second half offensively, and then defensively fell down at the corner position one time and gave them a big play. Lost all momentum at that point on. We just could not recover. Disappointing loss, hurtful loss, obviously, to the team, the players, the fans, everybody. But I feel for these players because they're the ones that have been putting in the work since January, and they were pretty down. But I can tell you this: we had a great meeting, and we have moved on. And like I tell them, in life, you know, life is about 10% what happens to you, but it's 90% how you respond or react to it. And I really believe with the character of this football team that they're going to respond in a big way. We're going to have one of the best weeks of practice we've ever had. They're anxious to get back out there, as well as the coaches, and get back to basics. And to me, that's what you do after when you lose a game like this. We're confident in our players. We're confident in what we're doing, and so we will stay the course, and we will sail through this. And so but the challenge does not get any easier. Going to Oxford to face, to me, one of the most talented teams in the Southeastern Conference, with a really good Ole Miss team that Coach Freeze has put together there in Oxford. So with that, I'll open up any questions.
Coach, you talked about the run on the goal line that Dixon ran. Just looking at some of the pictures I saw, I don't know, what was the proper technique? It looked like defensive lineman might have got pushed inside.
It did not fit our gaps, and when you don't fit your gaps correctly against the run, you're going to give up big plays. So we didn't fit our gaps, and then we missed a tackle also on the second level, missed a tackle on the third level. When you do that against a really good running back like Louisiana Tech had in Dixon, you're going to give up big plays.
You said confident in what you're doing, staying the course, or this morning said believing in what you do. Any scheme changes at all? Any tweaks or anything, or just stick with it?
Stick with what we're doing. A lot of things we didn't even get to through the course of the game for various reasons. Still a lot of things we still haven't even dialed up yet. So, but we're more than confident in what we're doing. We still got a lot of things that we will adapt to. But each week you have game plan things that you add each week within your scheme. But by no means we change anything we're doing. We're full speed ahead.
With a guy like Kim Dichie down low, does that affect how you kind of go about your blocking? Do you double him? Do you make sure he's always accounted for?
Well, you got to make sure he's accounted for. That's for sure. Kim Dichie, he's, to me, one of the most talented guys in the league. But I will tell you this: also, they have a lot of other talented players at the D-line position. They're deep, they're fast, they're athletic. If you watch them on film, they run to the ball like a pack of wolves. They really pursue the ball. They're impressive. They got a lot of physical players. C.J. Johnson's a player I'm very familiar with. I recruited him at one point when I was at Mississippi State. I know the type of person he is and the way he pursues the ball. They've got a lot of playmakers on that side of the football.
Coach, you think Ole Miss is licking their chops a little bit after looking at the film, and they're coming back for their first home game of the season?
If I was them, I would be. I would be for sure. You just see a team that didn't play well in the second half against Louisiana Tech. your first home game. If I was them, I'd be licking my chops too. So it's going to be a huge challenge for us going on the road. Anytime you go on the road, it's difficult. When you go on the road against a top 20 team at their place in the Southeastern Conference, it gets even more difficult. But you know what? We all wanted to go against the best, challenge ourselves against the best, and it'll be a great measuring stick. So we don't have hardly any time to sit around and worry about this past week's game. That will do us no good. We've got to be full speed ahead, getting ready for Ole Miss.
Coach, what about Bo Wallace impresses you the most?
Well, first of all, he's a senior, and anytime you're a senior and you've been in the fire as much as he's been in the fire, your mettle is tested and your mettle is strong. And that guy is a competitor. You watch the way he plays. He throws his body around. He gets the ball to the playmakers. He's not afraid to run the football, and he's a tough kid. And he'll be a tough one because he knows that system. He makes them play with really good tempo, and that's the challenge within itself because of the tempo they play with.
Wallace has kind of also shown a tendency to turn the ball over sometimes. Is that something maybe y'all will focus on this week? Just knowing that the turnover battle has been such a kind of...
Well, that's talking about turnovers for us. You know, we've got to create turnovers. That's one thing we have not done a very good job of at all in the first two games, and that's been critical in the first two games, especially this second game. If we could have got a couple of turnovers, or maybe even tied the turnover battle 3-3, could very easily be a different game. So that's something we've got to make sure we stress. We've got to get some turnovers this week if we're even going to have a chance. And so we're going to stress that hard this week. And like I said, it'll be a challenge.
You've been up to Oxford once or so. Is there anything particular that makes it difficult playing up there at that stadium?
Well, it's a tough place to play. They'll have a big crowd. They're very loud. They got a great fan base. They really get loud in the stadium. They support them extremely well. And we'll hear the hotty toddy quite a few times. And it will be an electric atmosphere, to say the least. And hopefully we can do our part to limit that. Our play will determine how electric their atmosphere is. And so hopefully we can play extremely hard and with a lot of passion and with unrelentless effort. And if we do that, hopefully we can go up and play well.
Did you ever get an answer on why McGuire didn't go back in if he was available, and where do things stand with him?
Yeah, he's fine. He got a little banged up early, I think on the first or second play of the game. And we had some things we was wanting to get to with him. We never got to, but he will be 100%. Got hit on the tailbone a little bit, but he'll be 100% come Saturday. He'll be ready to go full force. He'll practice tomorrow full speed.
Any update on trying to get him involved early on a couple different looks, throwing a swing past him in the slot and throwing with the jet sweep as well. Did that injury kind of take away from
Yeah, it did. It took away a lot from what we had planned with him to try to stretch the field and get him in the line zone on the field at the same time. And so that limited a little bit of that plan. And but when that happens, other guys have to step in and pick it up. You know, we didn't have Marquise and didn't have Jake Mulberry, so that's two other starters that will be available this week. That was not available last week, so that will be a huge plus. And so hopefully we can go up there with a full contingent.
Any update on Jamal?
We think he's going to practice tomorrow. Could be limited in practice though if he does, but they expect him to play Saturday as of right now.
You got to give up some big plays against Tech in the passing game. Talk about what you saw in film that you guys are going to correct against Ole Miss.
Well, we just can't give up. We got to take our gap. You got to be gap sound. You got to gap up each one of the run schemes. And in the secondary, you got to. It's pretty simple. You got to stay deeper than the deepest if you're a third player or if you're a half player. And so we've got to do a much better job there. We can't lose our feet and be on the ground. And we've got to get pressure on the quarterback. The longer the quarterback's got to hold the ball, the longer those guys have got to work open. So we got to do a much better job all around defensively, and especially tackling and taking our gaps.
Going back to your home state this weekend, does it make it a little bit more special for you?
No, it doesn't make it any more special. That's going to make it that much tougher. It's going to be a tough challenge, but that's something, you know, that I hadn't really even thought about other than my mom and dad asked for some tickets. Other than that, that's about it. But it'll be exciting to go back to a place I'm very familiar with. There'll be obviously a lot of people there that I know, a lot of friends there that might not be my friend for that day, But nevertheless, it's a place I'm very familiar with. It's got a lot of tradition. And just like any other game, we're excited to go tee it up and see if we've improved.
Any message of UL pride after what Ole Miss did to the baseball team here?
Excuse me?
Any message to the football team about UL pride after what the baseball team, Ole Miss, did here to the Cajuns?
Well, you know, our baseball team played really well against Ole Miss. You know, they won the first game, lost the next two, but they really competed well, and that's something that we even addressed with our football team. Our baseball team competed at an extremely high level against an outstanding baseball team of theirs in the Super Regional, and so hopefully we can compete at a very high level ourselves and represent UL in a way that would give us an opportunity.
Given Saturday, given Ole Miss, is there a chip on this team's shoulder this week?
I think there's a big chip on your shoulder. I think anytime, any team, regardless of who you are, and if you go out and you don't play as well as you expect to play, and you don't play as well as you are trained to play, and play as well as that you normally play, especially when you play with unbelievable effort and passion, yeah, to me, if you don't have a chip on your shoulder and you don't come to practice with that determination and attitude to improve, then you're at the wrong place for us. And I just know that the look I've seen in our guys' eyes is a very hungry attitude, an attitude where they cannot wait to get to practice. I think they're obviously they do not feel good about, which they shouldn't, about our complete effort as a team. And like I said before, it was not a one-person deal. It was a team loss, and I'm taking full responsibility of having this team ready. But I know this: we're going to practice like we're going to the electric chair this week, and we're going to have an unbelievable week of practice.
That's almost like the root canal.
It couldn't be that bad.
A lot of Mississippi guys on the team. A lot of guys you recruited from your time at Mississippi State. Do you try to tell these guys not to think about playing their hometown team? You know, guys like Terry, who's from.
Yeah, we got a lot of Mississippi guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and I guess you say the offensive side of the ball with the Quay brothers and Larry Pettis, and we got a lot of Mississippi guys across the ball. So you know, it'll be exciting for them to go back to a place they grew up watching and being very familiar with Ole Miss. And I know it'll be exciting for them to play there at Paul Hemingway Stadium. And so I think they'll be excited to play and give an unbelievable effort.
Coach, after the game, you talked about identifying a leader to get you guys out of this mud hole that you're in. Have you guys identified a leader, not naming a name, but just has somebody stepped up?
You know what? We've had quite a few players that's really stepped up and talked about the game, and we talked about it as a team. You know, sometimes in life, and I'm a Mississippi boy. I grew up in the country. Sometimes your four-wheel drive gets stuck, and you got to sit there and go get a tractor to pull it out, or you tie that winch to the tree and you pull it out. And either way, we're going to get it out, and we're going to get it out by doing what we do best, and that's working hard, that's staying accountable, that's doing the right things, on and off the field, and improving as a team. And if we do that, I have no doubts this football team is going to bounce back fast. You know, we're not going to let, by no stretch of imagination, one game define where we've been and where we're going.
You mentioned the defense earlier, but the other night you mentioned the secondary specifically. What specifically needs to be done there to shore things up?
Well, first of all, we can't give up big plays, and it's quite simple. If you're a deep third guy, you stay deeper than the guy in your third. If you're a deep middle guy, then you stay deeper than the guy in the middle. And whether you're a halves player, thirds player, you've got people that's responsible for the underneath routes. And so we've got guys that are letting people get behind them. And one of them, you know, where Trem fell down, but it might necessarily be, you know, an accident, but those type of accidents can happen. And if you're on top of the guy, you don't get your feet tripped up. And so those are the things that we've got to improve upon, and we will, because we've got some veteran guys back there that are coachable, and they're willing to improve and want to improve. And that's the thing that I can live with, is when guys want to get better and they see the mistakes. And it's, you know, one thing to make a mistake, but there's one thing when you make a mistake and you correct it, it doesn't happen again. So hopefully we can get better. And obviously in the course of the year, nobody in college football would ever score unless somebody on defense made a mistake. You know, so that's part of the game. But you want to minimize those mistakes and learn from them, move better and improve. So you minimize those and you get better.
Did you have a message to the team this week that, hey, like, a lot of our goals are still attainable, even though, you know, whatever happened on Saturday was not,
No, I tell you, that's one thing we're not talking about anymore. That's been half our problem, is too many guys like you, and saying that in jest, talking about the big picture down the road, and that's all they've heard is how about this goal, and how about this season, and how about this, are you gonna make all conference, and how about being named all conference, and boy, are you gonna win 12? And I'm just like, man, we just wanna beat Southern. And then after Southern, we wanna take the next game. And that's Louisiana Tech. And after that game, we're gonna put that game behind us, and now we're concentrating on nothing but the Ole Miss Rebels. And so that's been a little bit of our problem, and we've addressed that, and it will be a one-game only season each week, and that's the way we've done it the last 3 years, and that's been the key to our success. If you take care of the little things, you take them one game at a time, the big things will take care of themselves at the end. And I can assure you that that's what we're working on.
Anything else?
Thanks,
All right,
Coach.
guys. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.